You know how I've used the term Nolanites or Marvelites? There's a lot of ites out there. You know, a really devoted fandom that just loves everything that comes from that source. Almost, you would say, those of us outside of those groups would say, blindly loves everything that comes from those sources. Oh, don't worry, a good thing is coming. Now, I'm not a Pixarite. Never have been. I mean, I've very much enjoyed Pixar's early days, and I've really liked some of their more recent films. But the ones that some of you really love, I just can't stand. I mean, I was one of the first people to say that Pixar is emotionally manipulative before it became popular to say, with movies like Up and Toy Story 3. Oh, I hate those movies. And I also feel Inside Out is unwatchable. And I recently tried again, because so many of you like that movie so much. But after the first act, I just can't go on. And I argue that Toy Story 4 promoted socialism, which I stand by. Woody's still using that voice box, lady. I had real problems with that. I don't even want to get into it again. It was bad. But anyway, if I say that Soul is something special and achieves what I feel that Pixar has always tried to achieve and what has tripped them up when they focus more on trying to be intellectual rather than just telling a good story. But I feel they actually did it. I mean, that means this movie is something really special. I don't see how anyone could not like Soul. It's incredible. With Soul, Pixar finally evolves beyond an animation studio. And animation studios have to make movies that are anchored by having to be on some level commercial products. They have to appeal to families. They have to create a lot of merchandise, right? But now I feel that Pixar has created a movie that actually competes with the very best live action movies. Soul is Pixar's Beauty and the Beast. Now, I'm sure some of you are typing that Up and Toy Story 3 were indeed nominated for Best Picture proper beforehand, right? The very first movie to break through into the category was Beauty and the Beast, but was followed by Up and Toy Story 3. But those movies cheated. They were emotionally manipulative, and I felt that was really unfair. But to me, Soul is real, Soul is earned, Soul is spectacular. And for once, Pixar has made a movie that is not overly sad. They came very close. I was like, if you do this, you're going to ruin this movie. But they didn't do it. Pixar got an emotional reaction out of me, not by intentionally ripping my heart out in a very manufactured way. I know some of you just love to cry cathartically. And in Onward, I loved Onward. I cried like crazy watching Onward, but I felt that was earned. But I never cried once watching this movie. But this movie emotionally got me by filling me with awe and wonder and replicating feelings that I don't even know how they were able to manage to replicate it. And I still don't totally know how I feel. Speaking of Soul, this movie was almost like an out-of-body experience, which is the perfect way to describe it because it is a movie about being detached from your body. And you know what gives them a major assist? An amazing score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, who don't be surprised if they win an Oscar as well, which would be their second for Best Score after The Social Network. I just couldn't believe how good their work was. I'm going to buy the soundtrack for this movie. Or actually, I have Apple Music, so I will add it to my library. The combination of their score and Pixar's animation is mind-boggling. I was like, what am I watching? I can't believe this movie is this good. It's a very difficult movie to advertise. They kind of created an impossible movie to advertise. Talk about a leap of faith. You're just going to have to take one when you press play to watch this movie. But the opening credit scene, which is actually 10 minutes into the film itself, a bold, fantastic choice. I was like, now you're doing the credits? Oh, this is sophisticated. But it's so good and so out of nowhere that actually when the movie was over, I went and I rewound and rewatched that sequence because I was like, that's cool. Now, again, I don't want to ruin anything because the trailers certainly don't. So like me, you have no idea how ambitious this movie really is. But the great beyond, the sophistication there, again, is incredible. And you know what I would actually say this is like? This is Pixar's Beauty and the Beast meets Fantasia. Because Beauty and the Beast was really strong from a traditional live-action storytelling perspective, but Fantasia experimented. And this movie experiments. And you know what else is like Fantasia? A very strong emphasis on music. I don't even like jazz, so I'm glad that the Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross score was mixed in there. The jazz was good, but I mean the Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross score. Oh, that's the special sauce for me. The great before is pretty great as well. And even though this is not how personality is formed, this was my problem with Inside Out. I was like, that's not how it works. Pete Docter, you cannot play like Freud. It was ridiculous. It was so annoying to me. A lot of your personality is genetically determined. Just go interact with your family members and see how you're like them. I mean, that's not learned. Because, I don't know about you, but I'll find myself doing stuff that my parents do that's always annoyed me. And I would never want to replicate. But yet it's in here. It's in my DNA. And I think that's fascinating. But still, I allowed it here because a lot of Soul's commentary on life is still very insightful and moving. So I was like, okay, it didn't annoy me as much as Inside Out, which just went off the rails in terms of misinformation. Anyway, the movie also perfectly captures the magic of just being alive. That was incredible to me. Have you ever looked around? Of course you have. Almost everyone has, and the fact that this movie replicated that is amazing. Have you ever looked around on a perfectly average day and realized that it in fact was quite a special day, or at least a special moment? Soul's ability to capture that feeling is incredible. Now, we were concerned this might be another Princess and the Frog or Spies in Disguise, right? Where you have a character of color who spends most of the time in the movie as another form that has not a really, not a skin color. Well, there is a twist that does feel, and we've discussed it, some of you know what it is. And at first, it felt like a very bad idea. I was like, did you just ruin this movie? Thankfully, they did not. The movie quickly gets its groove back, and even though the whole time you're like, I think this might be wrong, or at least, I don't know if it's wrong or not. I think people from the community, the black community, would know for sure if they felt it was wrong. But I felt that ultimately it worked. And one of the reasons that it worked was not only because of the revelations that it leads to, but also there's a very large cast of human characters of color in this movie. So, it's really a very diverse film. So spotlighting the diverse community that New York City and other cities and other places all across the world have become, that's truly brought to life. So I think that makes up for this twist. There's one interaction between Joe and his barber that is really subtle, but it's moving, powerful, and authentic. That was great right there. And the character design in this movie is really just fantastic. And I've seen a number of animators of color who work at Pixar who've expressed how wonderful it is to design characters and animate characters that look like them in their community, and you can see that love just really strongly in the finished product. The movie is also very funny. Laugh out loud funny. It's easier to laugh out loud with an audience, but when you're watching this stuff by yourself, if they can get a laugh out loud, hearty laugh, which they got from me several times, is a funny movie. There's not only great jokes, but some really good physical sight gags as well. Soul is just, I think, perfectly crafted top to bottom, from the writing to the animation to the score to Pete Docter's direction, now the head of Pixar, taking over for John Lasseter, to the voice work. Now, we already know that Tina Fey is great at voice work. Megamind was so good, and she does a great job here as well. Jamie Foxx picks one heck of a first animated movie, and he is just the perfect Joe. He was great. And I didn't hear Jamie Foxx. He did a great job becoming the character. The Museum of Joe's life, by the way, I'm not going to say anything else, but wow, it hit me right in the feels. That was great. Oh, I just loved it. I thought Joe was such I can't give anything away, but Joe was such a great character that I think a lot of people will really relate to. And there are a ton of great cameos in this movie. Like when you read the voice credits, you're like, I didn't know that person was doing a voice, because some of them are smaller than you would like. Like Daveed Diggs, he nails it, but he has a very small role. But besides Foxx and Faye, the real standouts are the celestial beings who are, let's just say, a real treat. Again, I don't want to give anything away, but they were really great. And Graham Norton, oh, he was hilarious. You'll have to see it to believe it, but let me just say, I'm pretty sure he's captaining a pink version of Captain Hook's ship, which was a great callback, by the way. I loved that. I was like, that's Captain Hook's ship. And I think it's a testament to the traditional Disney animators that ship stands out so much. And also the Disney Corporation for putting it front and center many times. Now, Soul was originally supposed to come out for Juneteenth. That was its first release date. A lovely gesture, but just a gesture, because that's not what this movie is about. This movie is about the true joys of just being alive for all of us. And with its choice of characters, not only is the movie shining a much-needed spotlight in this genre, animation, on a community that doesn't usually get represented, but that's outside of the film. Within the context of the film, Soul is simply reminding us that we're all human. We all have souls, we all start in the same place, and we all end in the same place. What makes us unique is the journey in between. That's what is special. It's different for each and every one of us, because it's your journey. I would also say that Soul has some very interesting and accurate commentary to offer up about fame and accomplishment, which was very sophisticated for a movie like this. And we'll discuss that in the spoiler review. I really hope a lot of people watch this movie. But to me, Soul's most important message is that you don't live for anything or anyone. It's important to just live. And I think that's a really great message. Powerful stuff. Bravo, Pixar. Bravo, golf clap. I just really thought it was great. So that's my review of Soul, available soon exclusively on Disney Plus at no extra charge. All right, so share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.